Bruce sees all.
Anything new in your pictures?
What picture? On the wall?
Yeah, on
Well, the only one I put up since you've been here is the one of the is the poster of the moon pictures that I got from Bruce Swartz, and that's over there.
What's the Swartz stuff?
Swartz, a couple of years ago, heard me talk about people on the moon, and he wanted to find out for himself whether or not I was full of bullshit. And he bought a 14-inch telescope, and very, very powerful. Like that one, that's 8 inches, and his was, almost twice as big as that.
Is that?
That went on, yeah. And he started looking around, and the first thing he realized that the moon is covered by a hologram. We're not seeing what's actually there. In other words, when we look up and we see, alleged craters and alleged mares, that's not what's there. And so he figured out a way to penetrate the hologram, and those pictures on that poster, particularly towards the top, were the industrialized areas that have hundreds of buildings and roadways and bridges and, all kinds of stuff up there. Too bad you couldn't have hung yourself.
I'll get a taxi in a couple of minutes. So is this is this section?
Yeah, no. What? Square what? Those are buildings. Those are buildings. Huge buildings. So if you go to Bruce Sees All on YouTube, you'll see all that stuff. If it hasn't been removed, because YouTube now is removing any offensive material that NASA doesn't want on there.
But I'm actually know how are we going to? I mean, with Elon Musk, he's NASA's great. Well, he's doing business.
Some of the findings got me in trouble right from the start, and it created a lot of jealousy in the community where some people that were already working with John Lear, it caused a lot of fighting. Rest in peace, man.
So if you go to Bruce Sees All on YouTube, you'll see all that stuff. If it hasn't been removed, because YouTube now is removing any offensive material that NASA doesn't want on there. He figured out a way to penetrate the hologram, and those pictures on that poster, particularly towards the top, were the industrialized areas that have hundreds of buildings and roadways and bridges and, all kinds of stuff up there.
Once you break through what's hiding the surface, you'll see quite an overwhelming surface. And over the years, I've been able to properly filter a way of also seeing the objects in the atmosphere. But these are massive structures. But when people talk about the moon, there are other things, other subjects, that people don't talk about. And what I believe, a light system on the surface, there are not only explosions, but we see massive colorful lights going on and off on the surface, like they're flashing. Even though the research right now is not popular because everything's being blocked, and I'm not alone being blocked, I get it, truth is blocked, right? But I started characterizing and documenting and analyzing and looking at the differences of all the lights, and that allowed me to see that some of these lights are actually changing places on the surface. The reasons why we can't see the darn things is because, well, this beautiful secret, the atmosphere, smokes, hazes, clouds, whether it's natural or not, they are on the surface, in the atmosphere. We can fight about what type of smoke it is. We really shouldn't, because it's just quite basically there's a smoke there. They move around the surface, and I get in close enough to analyze that, to analyze them and to see that, they actually seem, some of them, to appear out of nowhere. Just a light source, like a photonic light that just suddenly appears inside of the lunar atmosphere. That's pretty incredible. and that's nothing. Out of the characteristics of the lights, some of them have smoke trails and smoke coming off of them, like this one here that's going to multiply itself and become two lights and get bright. It's like, it's almost unimaginable. You can see that dark line there, and there's the other light that appears right beside it. So it's like, whoa, now I understand that when people say that you can't characterize all UFO events as one thing, they're definitely not one thing, right? Don't forget, spirits, lights, demons, whatever, may look very similar to themselves. To be able to differentiate them is maybe near impossible, but not impossible. There's that line, and there's a UFO doubling itself. And guys, I swear to you, this is on the surface of the moon. The exposure is taken down so that we can actually see this phenomena happening. Because if I leave the exposure up, what happens is that obviously the surface is very blinding. This is really cool. The same way we see a UFO rising up off of the surface here. You see the light here, no filtering. You can see the light lifting up, pow, pow, and it takes off. And when it takes off, it blends in to the surface, with the surface. Here I'm going sideways, there they are appearing. Some of them, thrust off and take off. Some of them light up and seem to be just stationary, whether they are all UFOs or a light system. That's another thing, right? You see them here changing places, and at the speeds that they would be changing places, there are no humans in that. They'd be breaking their bones, that's for sure. You can call it a drone, you can call it a photonic light, neutrino, doesn't really matter. And that's besides from what I'm getting in the sky here. A real quick one of my favorites, a UFO light in the sky, what I thought was a light, folds its wings up and disappears into thin air. Beside this giant stationary UFO, we see a fire appearing out of something that's too dark to be able to see, but descends to the surface, and we see smoke coming from it. Is it a descent to the moon? That's why I say, yeah, I actually record some lunar landings. I mean, maybe not human, or maybe they are. Again, different characteristics. Yet another event with lights on the moon, but beside Copernicus crater, right on the rampart of the crater itself, seen from here, Montreal, Quebec. And we see some type of energy source or light or smoke, brilliant smoke, right? It's, I can't say luminescent, well, sort of, it's bright. You can see that coming out of whatever, a dark corner on the high part of Copernicus, the bottom part of Copernicus, facing Earth. We see these objects leaving the crater itself. And listen, this is not the first light that I see leaving the crater. I've also seen some approaching that crater. I've seen them approaching other craters, like these incredible fast-moving lights that are going over Mare Fecunditatis. We could actually see them so bloody fast, and they even have a winding left and right motion to them as they are crossing. Many events and captures, everyone. Hey, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you all. Thanks again for being here, and thanks for the interest in all the captures. Don't forget to check out the videos where I show all the lines and connections on the surface, like you see right here. Paul Sabo, Pat Gassard, Darla Lama, Ruth Kelly, everyone who contributed, gifting out the memberships, and every way you have, Kristen Kruger, Michelle Preston. Thank you so much for the generous contributions, everyone.
Aliens on the moon. When are they gonna tell the world? Come on, Pentagon. Aliens on the moon. Aliens on the moon. And they're mining. Really up there. They're mining on the moon. Aliens on the moon.
Thank you very much for the support to this channel.
Everyone, thanks for the generous contributions, and thanks for watching the videos.
Aliens up there on the moon. They may be even coming right here soon. Aliens are mining on the moon. Yes, they are up there. Doesn't matter, cause disclosure's coming soon. Disclosure's coming soon.